faithful Niner Empire. What's good? What's good? What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Welcome back. We are at week 9 of the NFL season. Also episode 9 of What's Good with yours truly, Jay in the Bay. Shout out to everyone who's already subscribed to Jay in the Bay on YouTube. But if you haven't, make sure you check out Jay in the Bay on YouTube, IG, and Twitter. Same name. Shout out to the 49ers Cutback crew. Make sure you subscribe to them as well. And I think hopefully the trend of us, losing 4 straight games is finally over. We won at Chicago. That was a great win. I know Chicago, isn't expected to go to the Super Bowl this year, but a win is a win. I'm glad we got a win and it was on the road. And now we face off against the NFC West rival in the Arizona Cardinals. And they just lost their first game of the year to the Green Bay Packers. I was surprised by this. And what's worse than losing is when you lose players, some of your better players on the team. Now, the Cardinals are already without J.J. Watt. Rodney Hudson, he's also out as well. That's 2 guys in the trenches on the O-line and D-line, respectively. And it looks like they have been missed. Also, one of the best, actually, I would say the best skill position player on the Cardinals, Deandre Hopkins, he's dealing with a bad hamstring. That's not good. And of course, the signal caller of the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, he's also has a sprained ankle. He's expected to be out 1 to 3 weeks. And I feel like the 49ers are meeting the Cardinals at the perfect time. Obviously, I don't want to see anyone get hurt, but, injuries, unfortunately, are a part of the game. And Cliff Kingsbury did say that Kyler Murray could play in this game in Levi Stadium this Sunday at 1:25 p.m. Pacific time. He could play without him practicing all week. So it is possible for Kyler Murray to play in this game and not practice all week. But even if he does practice, how effective will he be? Part of what makes Kyler Murray great is, of course, he's got the rocket arm, right? But it's also his mobility in the pocket. He's able to escape the rush. And with the sprained ankle, he's going to be hobbled. And, we'll see if he plays. But if not, I'm looking forward to seeing Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy has been a career backup for majority of his career. Colt McCoy doesn't scare me. But as I mentioned before, I think this is a great time for the 49ers to meet up with the Cardinals. They're not at full strength, but hey, we're not at full strength either. We've had our injuries as well. So looking forward to this matchup. It should be a close game. And this is a division game. I don't think it'll be a blowout either way. These 2 teams know each other well. And the Cardinals have been looking pretty good this year. You guys seen the standings. They're 7-1. They've been one of the better teams in the NFL, but we'll see if they can keep that up for the remainder of the year. They started off well last year, and they kind of stumbled toward the end of the last year due to Kyler Murray being hurt. So it seems like, I don't know, is this deja vu all over again? I don't know. I know Cardinals fans hope not. But I think we're meeting the Cardinals at the perfect time. And I'm feeling good as a 49ers fan. Are things perfect? No, but we did get a win. Jimmy played great. He played his best game of the year. And I'm looking forward to this game on Sunday. Let's get into Jay in the Bay's 5 big things.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5 big things.
All right. So number 1, got to win the time of possession. Last week on that Thursday night game between the Packers and the Cardinals, if you can believe this, the Packers had the ball for 37 minutes to the Cardinals 22 minutes. That's 15 minutes of Kyler Murray and that offense not being able to move the ball down the field. That's 15 minutes of the Packers offense moving the ball down the field, extending drives, getting first downs. And that's a beautiful thing. That's how games usually are won and lost. Usually when a team has that much of a discrepancy or that much of a gap in the time of possession, usually the team that wins the time of possession usually wins the game. And also, as far as possessions themselves, the Packers had two more, and those possessions were huge. Granted, the Packers only won that game by 3 points, but obviously those possessions came in handy for the Packers, and they were able to escape with the win. So I think this is what the 49ers need to do: win the time of possession. We know Shanahan loves to run the ball. Elijah Mitchell, I mean, can you guys believe Elijah Mitchell, a 6th-round draft pick? He's the best running back right now on the 49ers. That's incredible. He had another great game last week, over 100 yards rushing. I think he will repeat that in the game against the Packers. In the game against the Cardinals. Last week, the Packers had over 100 rushing yards against the Cardinals. And I think the Cardinals run D, they're leaking oil right now. They're not playing at the top of their level. And Elijah Mitchell, I think he'll have over 100 yards. Also, Jeff Wilson Jr. should be back. And then, of course, we have Jermichael Hasty. So I think the Cardinals defense will have to face a tough running game. And I think winning the time of possession will go a long way into having a victory Sunday for the 49ers. Number 2, keep Kyler contained. So I wrote this slide out if he plays. Now, DeMeco Ryans and the 49ers defense did an excellent job against Kyler the first meeting. That game, we lost 17-10. And Kyler Murray, I believe he had less than 10 rushing yards. So the ends did a great job. They stayed in their rushing lanes. They kept outside contained. They didn't let Kyler Murray, when he gets pressured, run to the outside. So if Kyler does play, this is something that the defense needs to keep as a focal point, make this a priority, keep Kyler contained, make him stay in the pocket. I think we did a good job last time of blitzing him. We got pressure on him. He was uncomfortable. That was one of the most uncomfortable games I've seen of Kyler Murray. Their offense, usually they scored in the high 20s, low 30s, and we held them to 17 points. I think the 49ers defense can do that again. And that's going to be a key to the defense this week. Keep Kyler contained if he plays. Number 3. We gotta force turnovers. The Cardinals lost their first game last week against the Packers. I think besides the time of possession discrepancy, also it was the turnovers. I believe Kyler Murray threw about 2 interceptions. Obviously, that helps when the defense can force turnovers, get the ball back to our offense, and let our offense have extra possessions, similar to how the Packers did last week. We get those extra possessions. That gives us more opportunities to take the ball down the field, score touchdowns. And also, that's one less possession for the Arizona Cardinals. The Niners have been on, I believe, a trend so far. We started off in the season. We only had one interception by Greenlaw against Detroit week 1. Josh Norman had a forced fumble, I believe, 2 weeks ago. And then we also forced 2 turnovers against Indianapolis. So we need to continue this trend. We need to force turnovers on Kyler Murray or Colt McCoy, whoever's in that quarterback, make them feel flustered in the pocket, get interceptions, and, hit that ball out. Josh Norman did a good job of that. Also, Dante Johnson, he forced a fumble. So we need to be aggressive on defense, get interceptions, force some turnovers, and allow our offense to have more possessions and go down the field and score some touchdowns. Number 4, we have to continue to have an aggressive offense. I liked last week against Chicago, Jimmy G and the Niners offense. Kyle Shanahan, had 5 wide receivers out. I believe that was the first few plays of the game. I like that. We don't have to have a predictable offense. Teams know, defenses know, hey, the Niners want to run the ball and establish the run. Well, last week, it seems like we passed the ball to set up the run, which normally we would do the other way, where we would run the ball, work off play action. This time we passed the ball, and I think that helps set up the run, and that makes the offense less predictable. And I think that's what you have to do going up against these tough defenses. Jimmy G, he played one of his best games. I know Chicago didn't have Khalil Mack, but you can only play who's in front of you. And, hopefully we can have a repeat performance. As I mentioned before, the Cardinals' run defense isn't great. It's actually, I think it's like it averages about 120 yards per game. We can definitely run the ball on them, and I think Jimmy G can make some throws. Who's gonna guard Deebo Samuel? Make sure you tuck your chain, Cardinals, because Deebo Samuel is definitely coming after you. He's having a hell of a season, a Pro Bowl career, or a Pro Bowl season if he can keep this up. And I think there is definitely a mismatch, Deebo Samuel against the Cardinals secondary. And also we got George Kittle. George Kittle's back at practice. Hopefully he plays. He suits up against Arizona. I don't think Budda Baker wants to see George Kittle. That's just me. But I think there's definitely a disadvantage there. And hey, Brandon Ayuk. Some say he's out of the doghouse. He had one of his most productive games last week. Hopefully that continues against the Arizona Cardinals. So we got to be aggressive on offense. Number 5, Mitch. You guys are probably thinking, Mitch, what are you talking about, Jay? Who's Mitch? Mitch is the punter. And I know, special teams kind of get overlooked, but special teams are a third of NFL teams. You got the offense, you got the defense. Well, special teams is very important. It's very important for Mitch. He had a great month of October. We need to have a great month in November. We need Mitch to, punt the ball inside the 20. That makes sure that, that it's a longer field. It's more yards for the opposing offense to score a touchdown. So Mitch, we need those coffin punts. We need you to get those in the 10 and force that offense to work out of their own end zone behind them and make it more difficult for them to score. And that's very important. Also, special teams, I think Trenton Cannon is still returning kicks. He's doing a solid job. Brandon Ayuk, he got loose last week. I think he had his longest return last week. So if we can keep that up, that'd be great. But special teams are a key component into having a victory Sunday. And I think Mitch is doing a great job. And I expect him to continue that this Sunday against the Cards.
Hey, Jay!
And now it's time for Hey Jay, where viewers ask questions of yours truly. I appreciate everyone who's asking questions today. Let's start off with the first question. David Campbell, what's good? So David says, is Levi Stadium built on a failed Silicon Valley startup burial ground? Will the 49ers ever win another game there? Yeah, man, I don't know what it is. Is it the curse of Candlestick Park? Obviously we were there in the city and, the 49ers ownership decided to move the team to Santa Clara. Is it that? I don't know what it is. It seems like we have more of a sense of urgency on the road. But let's be real. There have been some close home losses. A play here or there could have gone our way. We could have gotten a win. But I understand your point, man. I'm hoping we can get a home win. Hopefully we can get a home win this Sunday against the Cardinals. And that would be great, especially against a division rival. But appreciate the question, David. Next question from Coach Ant. What's good? He says, how do you feel the 49ers safety, Tavon Wilson, and Talanoa Hufanga match up against Zach Ertz and the Cardinals receivers? Well, I'm glad to see that those players are getting an opportunity. Unfortunately, Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward will be out for this game due to injuries. We know Talanoa Hufanga, nice fifth-round pick this year out of USC. We know he has a nose for the ball. He's good at the line of scrimmage. I don't know how he is in coverage yet, but if he is matched up with Zach Ertz, that would be a great opportunity for him to showcase his skills or showcase an area that he needs to work on. Because I don't think Justin Fields and the Bears offense they didn't really throw the ball that much down the field, which is a little surprising, especially since the 49ers have had issues in the secondary with penalties and things like that. Tavon Wilson, I didn't really see much from him, great or terrible. But I think that will be a good matchup. Zach Ertz he's still a pretty good tight end. And he will stress the defense because I think he could be a security blanket for Colt McCoy or Kyler Murray, whoever's in that quarterback. I believe Zach Ertz had a touchdown. I think that was last week against the Packers, I believe. So Zach Ertz is still a very talented tight end, and whoever's matched up against him, I would like to see Hufanga. I want to see if Hufanga can cover Ertz. And that would be an interesting matchup, but I don't think Zach Ertz and the Cardinals receivers will do that much. DeAndre Hopkins, he's got the hamstring injury. Those things don't just, get better overnight. That takes time. And I believe Hopkins, he played very little snaps last week against the Packers because of the hamstring injury. So even if he plays, I don't think he'll be that effective. Obviously, behind D-Hop, you have AJ Green. He's solid. You have Christian Kirk. He's a speedster. And I think they have Rondale Moore, who's also a speeder. So I'm more concerned about their speed, not really their tight ends. But I like how we match up against the Cardinals offense for sure. So I think we'll be fine, Coach Ant. A great question. All right, Jay Eli, what's good? Thanks for the question. He says, how do you sort out this running back room? Well, unfortunately, I think we already know who the odd man out is. I don't know what it is, but our draft class this year, the first 3 picks, we kind of knew Trey Lance wasn't going to, start week 1. I think we kind of knew that, or at least in my opinion, I knew Trey Lance wasn't going to start week 1. Okay, I get that. But the second round pick, Aaron Banks, he's been a healthy scratch. I think he suited up 2 weeks ago, but didn't get into the game. That's kind of a head scratcher. The third round pick, Trey Sermon. Does Shanahan not trust him? Does Shanahan just feel like there are better better running backs in the running back room? I think he does. I think don't be surprised when Jeff Wilson Jr. comes back that Trey Sermon will probably be a healthy scratch. Unfortunately, I think the running backs right now is obviously it's Mitchell's job to lose. I think you could go Hasty or Wilson. And I don't think Shanahan's going to have more than 3 running backs up on game day. Juice Check, obviously he's going to be the fullback there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sermon, is a healthy scratch for multiple games this year. That's unfortunate because usually when you draft your top 3 rounds, those should be starters on your team. And unfortunately, that's not the case for the Niners, so that is a disappointment. But I think it's clear. It's Mitchell's job to lose, and I think Wilson and Hasty will be the running backs behind him. A great question, Jay. All right, it's time for Fade Away, Jay. Like I mentioned before, I think that we are meeting the Cardinals at the perfect time. The Cardinals are a banged-up team right now. Hudson is out, the center. J.J. Watt is out. Who else? Obviously, Kyler Murray, he's banged up. He could be out 1 to 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. DeAndre Hopkins has a hamstring injury. So Cardinals are clearly banged up. The 49ers were getting players back. Robbie Gould, Jeff Wilson Jr., George Kittle. I think we're at home. So I think this is a game definitely the Niners should be favored in. That was a tough loss for the Cardinals last week at home, and the Packers didn't have Devontae Adams and Lazard. So that was just a weird game. But as long as the 49ers were able to force turnovers on defense, we got to do better on third down defense. I thought last week against the Bears, it wasn't as good as it could be. Hopefully we can improve. If Kyler plays, keep him in the pocket. And obviously win the time of possession. I liked how our offense was not predictable last week, but we can't abandon the running game, which I don't think we will, especially against the Cardinals and their run defense. It's not good. It's they average about 120 yards given up a week. So run the ball, win the time of possession. Mitch, you got to punt those balls in the 10, baby, preferably in the 10. And try to get some turnovers on defense. I think we'll have a victory Sunday. I think the 49ers will win this game. Surprise, surprise. I think the 49ers will win this game. I'm going to say 24-14. And I'm expecting this is based on Colt McCoy playing. Even if Kyler plays, though, how effective will he be? He won't be as mobile. And I think that's a huge part of his game. That's a huge part of what makes him successful. But I think the 49ers should win this game 24-14. And I appreciate everyone watching the latest episode of What's Good with yours truly, Jay in the Bay. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jay in the Bay. Also check me out on IG, Twitter. And you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy the game. And let's go Niners.